cultic actions and, thus, religious actions. The types of rituals served several purposes, but fertility rituals were the most common forms that were carried out at these cult sites or ritual sites. However, just like the Stonehenge structures, that is the megaliths, located to the north of Salisbury, Wiltshire in southern England, the Nazca layouts also served as general meeting places as well as judgment sites and sites of execution. Billy says so all of the various allegations are rubbish, such as the ones that the geoglyphs would mark or indicate underground rivers or that these are prehistoric airfields of war for extraterrestrials, as this, along with other things, is fantasized by Erich von Daniken. These geoglyphs in the desert plains of southern Peru show enormous geometric figures, animals, plants, and humans, which are only recognizable in their entire forms from a certain height. For this reason, one might get the idea that the pictures could have somehow been made by specific instructions from a certain height. Quetzal says that is correct. The actual meaning of the Nazca geoglyphs is based in the explanations that I gave you. All other explanation attempts by any ignorant ones, profiteers, or people given to fantasies or imaginations correspond to wild fantasies, confused assertions, or deliberate deceptions. What you say in regards to the fact that the geoglyphs are only recognizable in their full forms from a certain height, as this is the case with respect to other similar pictures in other parts of the world, I must say that this is actually so. However, the production of the pictures isn't actually based on the fact that from a certain height instructions would have been given for it. In truth, all measurements, etc. were made in an extremely accurate manner on the ground alone, even though this may seem unbelievable to today's Earth people because they can't make any such images themselves. Unfortunately, the people on the Earth always tend to search for impossible explanations for things that they don't know and don't understand. And wherever or for whatever they find no explanations, then it must be aliens, ghosts, or demons, and even when that is no longer possible, then it's simply taken to be a miracle, even though there are no miracles within the entire creative realm and, thus, also in the entire universe and in all dimensions. In fact, everything that is seen can be explained, it's just that the necessary insights and knowledge are also necessary for this, and precisely in these, the Earth people are still lacking in very many respects. Their cognition and understanding as well as their knowledge and their wisdom still aren't so comprehensive that they could understand and explain all things and concerns, etc., which is why, in their ignorance, they call everything that is still unexplainable to them miracles or search for solutions and explanations that fall into the realms of fantasy and error. Although the Earth person only learns slowly, in time, he will find the solutions to the things that are still unknown and mysterious to him. Billy says you speak a true word, but in this respect, only a few people want to let themselves be taught because the people are stubborn and don't want to let go of their old, inoculated pattern and, thus, also not their erroneous thinking but rather continue to live by faith in the old, traditional muddling and in religious acceptances, letting themselves be deceived by religions and sects and letting themselves go astray. Quetzal says with that, you unfortunately express a truth that is extremely regrettable. Billy says I know that, which is why I also said it. But now, I would like to ask you how important, actually, is light for humans as well as for animals. Concerning plants, it is well known that these don't grow and can't exist without light, with certain exceptions, like when these grow in the dark. But with that, the question becomes loud and clear, why can these do without light? Can you give me a satisfactory answer to this? This question doesn't just interest me but also others, which means that I was asked about it. Also a student is interested in this, as a result of her biology lessons. Quetzal says of course, I can give you information about that. Plants that grow without light underground, the ones of which you speak, always grow towards the light. And light is also vibrationally present in the dark, even though the person, with all his senses or by technical apparatuses, can't ascertain this, such as by light-sensing devices. The vibrations of light don't simply end at the surface of an object on the rock stratum and rocks as well as on the Earth's surface or at a dark cloud in space, etc. Rather, these still penetrate very deeply into matter. This means that also in the subsoil of the Earth, certain plants can prosper because they grow toward the light vibrations that are invisible to humans and that penetrate through the soil and which are sufficient for the prosperity of the plants to be assured. This is a fact that will still remain a secret to the earthly scientists of biology for a long time, therefore, they still must first investigate and fathom everything. Without these light vibrations that penetrate very deeply into the earth, the underground plants, as we call them, couldn't prosper and couldn't exist. However, where the light vibrations are no longer able to penetrate, also no plants can grow anymore. It is also important to note that the deeply penetrating light vibrations only exhibit partial rays of actual light and, therefore, a different form than the actual light vibrations. Moreover, such forms of light are already known to the earthly scientists, it's just that these don't concern the ones that penetrate into certain depths of matter. And from the same light vibrations, from which the underground plants or plants of the dark draw their vitality, also the underground animals or animals of the dark benefit, including the fish of the dark and deep-sea animals of every genus and species. Also, animals and humans need a great amount of light, including the nighttime animals or the nocturnal animals. Also the so-called night owls, that is nocturnal people, need light. And indeed, without exception, even if life behavioral patterns and all physical and organic factors adapt themselves and new day and night behavioral patterns come about, as this applies, for example, to the Inuit, that is the Eskimos. These have a completely different life rhythm than all those people who are arranged into the day and night rhythm throughout the whole year, which isn't the case with the Inuit, as you know, because in the area of the high north with the Eskimos, different day and night conditions prevail than what are given in the rest of the world. If the person changes apart from the accustomed change with the Inuit his daily rhythm and, with this, also his life rhythm, such as through irregular working hours, which you call shift work, then health problems and even serious health damages can appear, which can result, on the one hand, through the irregularity of the lifestyle and, on the other hand, through the changed lighting conditions and, thus, through unsuitable, artificial light. Stomach and intestinal troubles as well as serious stomach and intestinal diseases can be the result, as well as bad depressions and aggressiveness and also dizziness, nausea, blurred vision, and a general functional impairment of the immune system. If a person, and this is also true for animals, is lacking the absolutely essential light, then very negative disturbances and changes also occur in the hormonal balance, by what means, in turn, the immune system is strongly impaired in its strength and function. Lack of light also leads very quickly to thought interferences, emotional disturbances, and concentration problems, by what means, in a short time, also disturbances of the psyche appear, which in turn cause psychosomatic effects in the body and organs. At the same time, this concerns suffering with pain symptoms, etc. that can't be diagnosed by the earthly doctors because often, they are not yet advanced far enough in the area of medicine. Billy says thanks for your detailed explanations. Do you actually still have enough time to answer even more questions for me, for I still have a few things in stock. If your time should be tight for you, then everything can, indeed, be moved to our next conversation. Quetzal says at the moment, there aren't any urgent duties that I would have to settle quickly. Thus, I still have a while to satisfy your questions with explanatory answers. So let's hear what questions you still have. But remember that even I am not all-knowing, and thus, I can only give you information with respect to my general knowledge and my learned activities and scientific fields. Billy says you speak so sententiously, it could be directly from me, if I tried to express myself nobly. Quetzal says I also learn a lot from you, and especially from your written works, which you've already composed in excellent German since your early youth and childhood, which itself makes a great impression with our linguists.